Why do you think, from a very psychological standpoint, why do you think somebody buys a product? What in their psyche instigates them to buy a certain product? Why do some products do better than other products? And do you think, see, I'm not talking about the essentials that we all need, but I'm talking about shopping in the sense of the word that we know it today. Do you think the power dynamic in a way shifts from the seller of the product to the from the seller, from the buyer to the seller each time somebody buys a product? Like, why does somebody buy a product and why does a product work?
So I'll tell you, like, at least what we see now, right? Like now, because of social, there's massive FOMO in the world, right? So there's, people call it inspiration, but a lot of this is FOMO, right? Like no one wants to be left out. We see lots and lots of shopping gets inspired by social media, right? Like by Instagram, by this and that. One of the very common products that people use on the Meesho app is people take photograph and they search that same photograph and buy. And most of those photographs come from Instagram.
So, how big is social media as an influencer part of Meesho's overall sales?
I would say it's very hard to attribute because in many cases people come in.
Indirect?
But it's a lot, by the way. Even the way we design, what kind of trends are coming up, what kind of things you see, everything is driven a lot by what data we see on social. It's a big part. Something direct attribution we can see when people are really searching that image and it's an Instagram image. So that we know, and that's a large part. But even otherwise, we see everyone deciding what to buy and what not to buy, driven a lot from social media.
So you're saying there is this one central body in a way of influential people who decides what is cool, and then everybody decides they need that product in their life.
To some extent, yes. Right? Like that's happening. Now people are seeing a lot of celebrities. Now they are also seeing these influencers come up.
And how
Right.
high does that chain go? Let's say we look at an influencer. Who does the influencer look at? Who in turn does that person look at? Is it a corporation which is setting trends that are cool, or is it organically evolving from people?
So at least from what we see now, it may have started with being very concentrated, but now even like I see like Bliss Club starting, right? Like they leverage influencers quite a lot. That entire brand was, by the way, built on Instagram. Like everything was built on Instagram. And they found people, so now they're influencers that people can relate with. Hey, this influencer looks like me, wear the kind of things I like, and I follow that person. And some of the influencers are very original kind of products they choose and they recommend and so on. So it's not like very concentrated that, hey, this person looks at this and that person looks at this. I feel now it's very decentralized to some extent, and everyone knows what kind of person feels like a body double to me, right? Like, hey, this person has the same beliefs, same liking, same kind of body, and I like this person. I want to buy what they good look in. So I feel that's happening.
At the very core of this distinction, you're saying people are mandating or people are governing what becomes cool, and it's not the brands or corporation.
Correct.
People are leading and brands are following.
To some extent, now I see this to be very strong. And I feel this is only getting bigger and bigger.
And I believe there is a reason for it. We'll see, like you were saying, the social media, especially this video platforms, let's say you can say TikTok, Joes, whatever, like Instagram, Facebook, there are so many distribution, big platforms where more than hundreds of millions of users. ये जो tier 2, tier 3 cities और इनमें वहाँ पे 6-7 घंटे लगाते हैं इस पे दिन भर में. And they like those videos. It's very hard for us to relate to why these guys are watching so much. And ultimately, some style, some product, something they pick, and they wanted to look like it because they spend so much of time. So I think, like he was saying, that social, I think it is becoming a mainstream. I was just telling you, when we are solving this predictability, hey, the goods will going to be delivered within 1 day, 2 days, or 1 week, depend on the location and all. I think this generation, for them, it's given. They are not thinking about, hey, how I was talking about, hey, payment gateway integration. आज बोलोगे लोग बोलेंगे पागल हो गया क्या, ये कब था, ये तो प्री इंडिपेंडेंट टाइप की बात कर रहा है. I think people now are wanted to look good, wanted to look different. If you are asking who are the influencer, if in their society they know some guys who have like 1,000 people follower, 10,000 follower, and they are getting inspired that I can become an influencer. They are endorsing the brand, local brand, chips, some shop, something, and they are innovative because they wanted to look different in every video because they are creating reels also. So what they do, go to mall, go to changing room, just change and take one video because they cannot spend that much of money. See, I think now they endorse in a different way.
So is that the future instead of marketing on newspaper,
I think
TV?
the way we look at it, because being a part of the old economy, we believe that whenever a dominant media or communication method changes, everything changes around it. So when there was a newspaper, then the radio, then the television commoditized, build brands. Now that's social media and social interaction. And I think mobile phone makes you very individualistic, because now at every home, everybody has a different breakfast, everybody has a different meal. Earlier, the family used to sit together and had one kind of meal. Things have changed and we have become very individualistic because of everybody has a personal phone. So things are changing around it. So every person has a personal preferences of an influencer. You need so many people now to get influenced. Matlab, somebody will get influenced by something, somebody will get influenced by something. Earlier it was mass advertising. I remember we made a movie and there was a particular dress which was made by Biba, and they still sell that dress after 14 years or 15 years. And that virtually that dress made Biba as a brand also to a great extent. So earlier there were other influences, but it was commoditized to a great extent. But today things are different. It's getting individualistic more, and then you have to find that kind of users together and make them into a group. Yeah.
So for the future of building a product, for the new consumer brands that are coming up today, is the go-to strategy just that, paying influencers to promote your product?
No, I think for brands, I think now it's a very core part. Like if you don't
Like, see, a
align with
brand could
influence,
also have a message. Like I could be saying, my brand is sustainable, my brand is XYZ, my brand does a certain kind of fashion. Does the brand try to build their distinction through that brand message? Or is the lower hanging fruit going to the influencers who have the widest reach and paying them money to adopt the brand in a way?
it's happening a lot. And by the way, it's just not about finding the biggest influencer. As I was saying, now influencers stand for different things.
Yeah.
So you have to find someone who is very close to the philosophy that the brand wants to build.
So influencer is an intermediary between a brand and the customer.
Yeah. By the people have become very conscious. They look at everything. Hey, who have you picked? What does this person believe in? You say sustainable. I see this person using a plastic water bottle. I don't believe this person's sustainable. My point is, like, everything, every detail somehow matters now,
Right.
because people spend so much time. So it's just not, you can't go, and that's why influencers work, and very small influencers are very effective, because it's just not go to the celebrity with millions of followers. You have to find someone who connects with the principles of the brand.
If you see, I think I just earlier, like you were saying, the unidimensional control channel, even like newspaper, TV, and even control. Because of this social media revolution, multiple access innovations are happening, multiple access. It's very hard to pick one trend. Some trends are working, let's say tier 1, some tier 2, some like high paying capacity, some Gen Zs, some millennials, and it's very hard to pick trends. But if you'll see the platform which are responsible for this social media, let's say Instagram or Facebook, now they are creating a fund. So to engage these influencers, because if the commercially if they will not be engaged, it's very hard for them to come again and innovate. So now they're creating a fund for it. And somehow they are creating economics. Currently, those are broken because the people who are finding those numbers of influencers, they are creating those infrastructure, but currently it's broken. So these are big innovations are happening, how to create that fund so that all these influencers at multiple access keep engaged with the platform. So I think, and I see retail as becoming a byproduct of that.
And do you think celebrities, like I'm talking about old school celebrities, Bollywood, cricketers, do you think that connection has somewhere gotten lost because people have assumed in their minds that they are for sale in a way, and rarely ever do they believe in the product they're selling? And will the trend in the future be that brands do not go to Bollywood or cricket, but they go to more micro influencers in a way who are more authentic?
I think it is happening slightly, but I think that's still not the prominent reason. Like the reason people go to influencers, because earlier, by the way, it was binary. Either you have a big celebrity or you don't, right? And until you become large enough to afford a celebrity, you can't do it. Now people can start on day one. You could be a very small one, you find a small influencer who connects with your philosophy. And people keep graduating. There's still very few influencers who have the same following as celebrities. So what you're saying still hasn't happened. But I believe, by the way, will happen soon. In the next few years, some large celebrities will have the same following as, some large influencers will same following as celebrities.
You guys do a lot of marketing.
We do. And we are seeing, by the way, like,
Marketing budget per year. How much did you spend last year?
it's a large amount. I won't mention the number here. But I'm saying it does not matter.
I want you to say.
No, but I won't mention still.
But let's say a Misho spends something like 2,000 crores a year to market. What I'm wondering is, how do you decide the allocation of that money? What have you learned? Say, for example, last year you sponsored IPL and this and that and stuff like that, and actors and stuff. What have you learned from that experience, and what will you change going forward?
Yeah, so the one thing which we have always been very effective is we are very local. We go as local as possible because our audience base is very heterogeneous. Unlike tier one, which also is also like very, if you look at Instagram, looks very homogeneous, right? Like tier one tends to behave very similarly. As soon as you go beyond, it does not. So we've always been very local. So we go to Andhra Pradesh and Telangana and pick an actor or pick an actress or a celebrity that connects with that person.
Right.
So I'm saying we have always been very local and we have seen that to be very effective. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's capital allocation, right? You spend X amount or you spend Y amount, you see where the ROI happens.
Yeah.
We've seen over time, like, it's not that you need to have a celebrity all the time, right? Like, so we keep changing celebrities so that, like, the company's image is not attached to one person, right? Like, that is also a risk at the end of the day.
When you use a celebrity,
Huh?
how much does your ROI go up while you're using a celebrity versus not using? Is there a tangible difference?
Very hard to estimate, yeah. Super hard. Like, if someone asks you this question, it's all anecdotal. It's like people build stories around it. No one can estimate.
Which was the biggest hit of marketing last year? What worked best?
So our Diwali campaign did very well, which is where we did localization. So we had different celebrities for different parts of the country. Right? Like, we had Saurav Ganguly for West Bengal, we had Ram Charan for a certain state in South India. So I'm saying it's basically, we went very local and we saw that to be much more effective than have one person who appeals to all the country, because we realized it's close to impossible to find one person who appeals to everyone. You can find cricketers, but they still appeal to males and not to females. So it's very, very hard. So I'm saying we found localization to be very effective.
Should we eat off and then continue? Khalid, you want to say something?
No, I just think that even celebrity, they are investing like significant time to become influencer. If you'll see the trend, like cricketer is showing, I'm going to bed, singing, showing someone, you'll see all those, and they are like serious amount of time they spend. They also understand those trends. So they wanted, even in that space, they're competing, they wanted to become one of the largest influencer.
In our space, in fintech, there are some people. There is Sharan, there is Rachna Ranade, there is Think School. I think these guys are, especially people like Think School. I think there is a big divide between the quality of content they're doing and other people are doing. I don't know how they've arrived at that point. I'm not an investor in Think School. I'm not promoting them in any way whatsoever. But I think the future of information dissemination, even about finance, is going to move from traditional channels to people like them. Like, I don't think the day is far. 5 years from now, somebody will not be watching news. They will be watching Think School for their news. And I wonder how this entire equation changes and who becomes celebrities of 10 years from now. It'll be quite interesting to see how the world changes, though.
I think celebrity, I think earlier, because most of the followers were related to celebrity. I think in my mind, if I like cricket or let's say some sports, it's a skill game. I think it will not going to change. still I will going to prefer that. But how commercially I can associate, I think might be it will be different. But lots of things I like because that guy is doing. I wanted to be seen like him, or something like fitness, or some of the clothing styles. But who will sell those products might be different.
Hi, I'm Nikhil. Thank you for watching the podcast. Let us know who your favorite guest has been and who you'd like to watch next. Thank you.